All right, I have heard your demands, and so here it is, kind of a hype and hate video for Georgia and Ole Miss. I had some things come up yesterday unexpectedly that took 2 or 3 hours out of my day, and then the Jim Harbaugh news broke about the time I was gonna start on the hype and hate video yesterday, so I did not have time to do it. So here you go. Now, there won't be an intro, there won't be any music, there won't be any clips, but I'm more than happy and more than willing to trash Ole Miss for you. So let's go. You know what I like about Ole Miss, to be honest, though? Not a fucking thing. There is nothing to like. Ole Miss is a trash school and a trash program. And they have been really for eternity. There's never really been a stretch of time where Ole Miss was a team that mattered. It just wasn't. I mean, go back however far you want to go. You can't find a period of time where Ole Miss football was relevant nationally. Sure, you can find a year or two here or there where they won 10 games. You can find that with Northwestern, Minnesota, Arizona schools, Wake Forest. That's what Ole Miss is. They're not a good team. They're not a good program at all. Are they good this year? No. They're 8-1, and they were like 7-0 last year. Finished 7-5 or something. This is what they do. They don't win games towards the end of the year. They're not winning. They tried to lose last week to Texas A&M. Texas A&M's horrible. Texas A&M fans are down so bad they got shovels. They're roaming the desert with shovels, looking for money to dig up. And they 38-35. How do you give up 35 points to Texas A&M? Texas A&M shouldn't be scoring 35 points in any three-game period with that offense they have. And they bring Bobby Petrino, and it didn't help. You guys drove to struggle bus three-point win over them. Sad. Sad. The closest thing you've seen all year to what you'll see today was the Bama game, and you couldn't get a fucking first down. I mean, for God's sakes, that was back when Bama was even worse than they are now. Bama's still not very good. But when you played them way back in the first month of the season, they were even worse. They were coming off that South Florida game and all that. They had lost to Texas, and you showed up and laid a fucking egg. Like you always do. Big game Lane. Yeah, all he does is lose big games. Lane Kiffin is the most overhyped coach in the country. Lane Kiffin this, Lane Kiffin that. Look, just because somebody talks every time somebody sticks a microphone in front of his face doesn't mean he's a good coach. The media sucks up to this Lane Kiffin because Lane Kiffin's an attention whore, and the media loves attention whores. Most of the time, the media will call a coach and say, hey, we're working on a story, we want this, we need that, we need a clip for this, can we interview? And the coach will say, no, I'm busy coaching, preparing, getting ready for a game. Not Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin sits in his office all day long staring at his phone, hoping it'll ring so they can give an interview to some podunk ESPN.com writer that nobody's ever heard of. That's what Lane Kiffin is. Lane Kiffin is like a PR representative for his own self. That's all he is. The guy's got fake Twitter account. How much time a day does he spend on Twitter? And look, well, you spend all day on the internet. Well, I'm not coaching a football team. It's my job to stay on the internet. Lane Kiffin is a fucking football coach, or at least he's pretending to be. And is he ever going to brush his hair? Every time I see a picture of Lane Kiffin, it looks like a squirrel just got done hibernating on top of his head. Like he's sitting here giving interviews and like half-eaten pieces of acorns are falling out of his fucking hair. What is he doing? Lane Kiffin. And Ole Miss is Jackson Dart, man. Look, Lane Kiffin knows Jackson Dart's not any good. Lane Kiffin brought in 19 transfer quarterbacks this offseason. Literally anybody he could trick that was in the portal, any quarterback that was in the portal that he could trick into coming to Ole Miss, he brought him in. And who ends up getting the start? The same old washed up, dried out Jackson Dart. Not good. Quinshon Judkins, how much does he miss Zach Evans? Last year, Quinshon Judkins was pretty good as a freshman and basically RB2 behind Zach Evans, who's now off in the NFL. But as soon as the workload fell squarely on Judkins' shoulders, not the same running back. How come he's not nearly as good this year as he was last year? Did he somehow get worse? I don't understand. You got no defense. You couldn't slow down Texas A&M. No one you pass. And we're not worried about your pass rush. You're not sacking Carson Beck. You're gonna get sacked though. Y'all are gonna get beat bad in this game. You don't belong on the same field with Georgia. To be honest with you, not a good team and not a good program. Kind of a feel-good story, like I said, once every 5 or 6 years when y'all almost get to double-digit wins. I like it when y'all get like 8 or 9 wins, but then lose to a 4-win Mississippi State. That's like my favorite Ole Miss move of all time. You know, you have like one of the greatest years in school history, which is anything 8 wins or more, and then lose to like a 3-win Mississippi State. That's probably going to happen this year because you're at 8 wins now. You're still going to be at 8 wins tomorrow. And this is like the year that you will lose to Mississippi State. That's what you do. That's what you're known for. That's what Oxford. Please don't get me started on the Grove and a tailgating thing. You dumb motherfuckers show up for a tailgate with fucking bow ties, and I can't tell the difference between a Kentucky Derby and an Ole Miss tailgate, and that's fucking sad. That is sad. You guys are bringing out grandma's china and real silverware and shit, setting it up underneath a sports academy tent. What the fuck are y'all doing? I don't get it. That's another thing that's overhyped. Oh, you got to go to a tailgate at the Grove. They got nice trees and the grass is always freshly cut and people are wearing their Sunday best. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. I don't. Tailgate at Ole Miss. Come to the Grove. No. The only way I'm going to the Grove is if they move it out of the state of Mississippi. What a fucking... God, man, I'm telling you. If I'm overseas... There's no way you admit you're from Mississippi if you go overseas. Like if you're like overseas or even like vacation anywhere else in the country. You lie, don't you? There's no way you're on vacation somewhere and you strike up a conversation with a stranger and you go, oh yeah, well, we're visiting here from Mississippi. There's no way you admit that. There's no way. Mississippi has been about 40 years behind the rest of this country from the day it was founded. And it still is. It's the most backwoods, uneducated state in this entire country. And that's saying something. That's really saying something. Because you're down there with like Arkansas, Alabama. You make Arkansas and Alabama look like fucking civilizations. Civilized civilizations. I know that didn't make any sense. Stop laughing at me. Anyway, Ole Miss fucking sucks. They're garbage. And Georgia's going to beat the ever-living soul and will to live out of you today. Where's your fucking helmet at? How is it we haven't turned this thing over yet all year? Look at this ugly piece of shit here. Ole Miss. I hate Mississippi. I hate Oxford. I hate the Grove. I hate Lane Kiffin. I hate everything about your backwards fucking state. I hate that movie Mississippi Burning. I hate The Blind Side. I hope y'all get sued into oblivion. That was a fucking recruiting. That whole fucking fake, made-up fucking Blind Side story. But The Blind Side's right up there with Rudy and Forrest Gump in fake fucking Storyland. Both of those movies are fucking fake fantasy fiction, and so is The Blind Side. Sandra Bullock, whatever the fuck her real name was. All that was a recruiting scheme. That's all it was. It was a giant recruiting violation that they made a movie out of. And now the guy wants to sue you into oblivion. Good luck getting any money out from Ole Miss in that lawsuit, though. Blood from a turnip in that broke-ass state. Anyway, enjoy your fucking beating today. Your season is over right there. Yeah. Have a terrible fucking morning.